Welcome back to Major League Sorare. It is the show that is focused on playing Sorare at the very high levels in the America division. We focus on MLS, Argentina, Mexico, Brazil, mostly MLS because we are two MLS nerds. I am your host, TrippinB, along with my Schuyler. How you doing, man? What's going on today?
I'm good. I'm doing good. Happy to see our Major League Sorare logo nice and shiny up there in the corner. Shout out to, I think you had a friend that did the design on that, which I love the throwback to the old MLS logo, pay a little homage to the original OG MLS logo. Still think the cleat looks a little bit like a golf shoe, but I can
It does look
work
like
with
a
it.
wingtip for sure. I should have asked Sean, my buddy Sean Swaim designed this, and he did it just on a quick free commission. So shout out to him. But he put the Sorare logo inside that. I should have asked him for maybe a little pointier boot there, just a little. It looks with it rounded off on the toe. Maybe it looks like a golf cleat, but hey,
throw a little Adidas Copa Mundial in there. The old school,
exactly. But it's quirky, and like all things with MLS 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 12.0, it's MLS is a quirky league, and that's why we love it. Part of the reason we love it. So I want to say that before we get started, we're going to talk about the market today. I think is our big thing. We focused on goalkeepers last week, and we said maybe we'll go positionally, but the way things are developing, there's actually some more important and interesting discussions that we had just by talking about the market and then actually going back to goalkeepers. So that's kind of what's the agenda for this show. I just wanted to say that today is a day that we're remembering. I'm wearing, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm wearing my Charlotte FC community kit, black and mint. And this is in honor of Anton Walkes, who tragically died in a boating accident. He's a Charlotte FC center back that played last year on the expansion season. He played for Atlanta United before that. He was in the Tottenham Hotspur Academy. 25 years old, died tragically a week and a half ago in a boating accident. And it's just really horrible. And it's cast a big cloud here over Charlotte, and people are very sad. Associated with the club, it's kind of frozen our whole preseason. The team is just kind of grieving right now. The players all came back from Florida after that happened and whatnot. And not to start things on such a negative note, and we're kind of processing this as we go as Charlotte fans, as Major League Soccer fans, as human beings. And just today, we're recording this early on a Thursday morning, and later today, there's going to be a celebration of life ceremony for Walksy, and just tons of at the stadium, tons of Charlotte fans and family are expected to attend. And I just think it's going to be a great thing. I actually will be at work, so I can't go, but I will be live streaming it off to the side. And shout out to Walksy. Shout out to everyone who's out there who's losing loved ones. It's tough, like cherish every day. That's all I could say. And we cherish what we're doing here, talking with you. I don't know. Did I get too sentimental there for you, Crypto?
No, absolutely not. It was such an unfortunate news to come across the feed, and for me, it was a little bit of put things in perspective. I've got kids. I've got a 16-year-old son that plays soccer, and so he was affected by it. I think when you see something like that, it kind of does put things in perspective, and it gave me an opportunity to say, hey, to my kids, this is real life. You're not promised tomorrow, and just have that talk with them. And so hopefully there's some good that comes out of this, whether it's letting your children and people you love know a little bit more just each and every day that, life is not promised. So.
Yeah, and I think it is going to be a really good, like they call it, it's not a memorial service today, it's a celebration of life. 25 years young and still packed a lot in. Anton Walkes had a daughter, had a great career going, an amazing man, just heartfelt tributes from all his teammates and loved ones and friends. And I think it's going to be a positive thing as we move forward through this grieving process. It's not easy, and he's not coming back. And so it's hard, and we will deal with all kinds of the implications of that. But just wanted to explain why I'm wearing my black Charlotte FC kit, like I said. So if we move forward back to the topic at hand and the main matter, the reason most people would be watching this is that we're here to talk about the MLS market. And it's not taking off in ways that we might have expected as compared to this time last year. Schuyler, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, that's the main takeaway, is that this time last year, it seemed like things were booming. And it felt like we were kind of getting there a little bit. A couple weeks ago, offers started coming across for MLS, and seems like within the last week, things have just gone dead. Offers are still coming in here and there, but prices have dipped tremendously, and that might obviously have a little bit to do with ETH going up in price.
ETH on the rise, yeah, for sure.
ETH, yeah, ETH to the moon, hopefully, but
someday.
Yeah,
not today, but hopefully
not today.
Down the road.
But it's been interesting, and it's been, I don't know. I'm still trying to gauge when things are going to pick up. I think we were talking with Laird in Discord, and he said that it's just still too far out, which says right there on the show title that we're a month away. I think the very first MLS game is exactly a month from today on February 24th.
25th, sorry, February 25th.
25th,
I told you exactly a month in our pre-show prep, and then I actually looked it up after we started, and I was wrong in the pre-show prep. So yeah, it's actually we're recording this on the 24th. It should probably come out. Might be watching it on the 25th, so it's a month away. Let's just say.
We're a month out.
That's why I put less than a month away on the original banner.
Yeah, and so maybe we do start to see things start to tick up a little bit in the next couple of weeks. I'm trying to make some moves on my end. I don't have as much ETH as I hoped I would at this point.
Ooh,
again, probably goes back to just the market and just not having as much activity as I expected. Guys aren't selling that I thought would sell. You've got Emmanuel Reynoso over in Argentina, which he was projected to be one of my top midfielders heading into the season. Still could play a big role for Minnesota, but apparently he's dealing with some legal issues in Argentina. We touched on that on the last show.
Yeah, I mean, it's been described this year as personal issues. So who knows? It could be the whole pistol whip controversy that he got involved in 2 summers ago. It could be something new. Who knows?
But he's still trying to get his international passport, maybe.
I have a theory, and it's my buddy, my German buddy, Your Name, has first put this out there, so I'm just stealing it from him. But Reynoso just doesn't want to go hang out in Minnesota in January when you can be living in Argentina, and go to the beach or the mountains whenever you want. Why would you go shiver in the cold? So I think he's just not a cold weather cat, and he finds a reason to stay down at home.
Right, even though they're probably in Florida training or something like that.
I mean, they extended his contract. They had to feel pretty good about the legal situation as it develops.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows? I'm still expecting him to be good, but Reynoso is a little bit of a problem. And it's funny, like his example, it illustrates. We all love our random Discord conversations, right? Or Twitter conversations that we have in So Rare World. I had a guy reach out to me and said, "Hey, I posted my Reynoso. So I bought my Reynoso Super Rare last year, early, like in like May. So like 30% of the way through the season, I bought Reynoso Super Rare for 1.2 ETH. He's done pretty good. He's been in a couple nice lineups for me. He's brought some rewards. I like having him. He's a good player. I always want to always plug him in. Usually give him the captain. But just when this news came out, I probed the waters. I said I saw a couple of super rares for sale for 2 ETH each. Said, okay, I'll post mine 1.5. If I can make a little profit on this, get out from under, not have to worry about the situation, and then go spend that and reinvest that into someone else who I might feel is safer. Let's do it. So I post him for 1.5. I immediately get a message from this, someone trying to make the deal of a lifetime, someone that wants to thinks that I don't know my own players or whatever. And he's like, comes at me. He's like, hey, I'll pay you like 0.7. I'll give you like 0.7 for this Reynoso super rare. He's going to jail, right? And it's like, come on.
Oh, wow.
So it's just funny how the market, but that's reflective of like the market has dipped, and like for someone, he thought that was a fair offer, like to offer 0.7, 0.8 for Reynoso, and I'm thinking I need 1.5 at least. So just kind of funny.
At that point you just got to hang on to it and hope everything.
Yeah, exactly. I don't really fear for it too badly, but I'll just see what's out there. If I can turn a profit on an elite card and get another elite card, then I'm happy to do it. So
yeah, for sure. And that just goes to show just how reactive the market is to news like that, which right now another card that I've dealt with was Will Yarbrough, supposed to be Colorado's #1 keeper heading into the season.
Ooh, let's check him
out.
Now
you've got news that Pence is potentially coming over to steal a spot. Was he Anderlecht, or I forget which club he's for now, but he's fallen out of favor with them, wants to move. Colorado's got 1 year left with Yarbrough, and it sounds like they're ready to move on from him. So maybe they want to bring somebody in to push him a little bit.
Yarbrough was always like solid at best. You just hope he didn't kill you, basically. If you're at Colorado Rapids, I feel like.
Right. And the Rapids used to be a solid defensive unit. They still have some good defensive pieces, but they're not the defensive juggernaut that they were back when you bought a Colorado keeper. You're hoping that would be one of your go-to keepers to roll with. And yeah, he was just so hit or miss last season. I got one for 0.3, I think, in the off season, which I felt like was a really good deal at the time. When you're looking at the recent sales, it was a pretty good deal, but once that news about Pence came out, then I immediately started panic, trying to pawn him off.
Look at the most recent transaction, CryptoKicks to Pavel trader. About an hour before we recorded this, you unloaded Yarborough. I love it. This is expert pro touting, folks. By the way, make your deals, then go on camera to talk about what other people should do. Don't. That's pretty funny, but hopefully you got a good trade. We'll look at it in a second. I do think it's funny. 2 of them were shipped off to Pavel, just this morning, within the last 4 hours. Somebody bought it auction 3 hours ago, and you can see from the auctions from 6 days ago auction at 0.355 to yesterday 0.270. The news has definitely had an effect. People are running away from Yarborough. In fact, Pavel is 5 of the last 6 transactions, and the 6th was an auction. So everybody's definitely running away from old Billy Yarbs, as we might call him.
Yeah,
I never really liked this guy. He just always I never ever would have pursued this guy. I'm always happy when my teams are facing Colorado. I don't know. Yarborough's not the thing for me.
Yeah, things have definitely changed in Colorado over the last couple of years. And I felt like it was time to. I wanted that peace of mind with not having him stuck in my gallery in case they do bring another number one in to push him. And if I take a little bit of a hit on it, then it's worth that peace of mind for me. And
so should we go full transparency and look at your trade and have you explain your trade?
Yeah, you can go ahead and pull it up. I think it won't be too hard to explain after we let off with Reynoso being another one of those.
Wow. This was not planned, folks. I promise this is not planned. We have an outline of what we'd want to do, and then we kind of freestyle it. But this is interesting. Okay, so talk us through this one.
Again, it just goes back to just doubt hanging over Yarborough, his spot not being locked in, and then Reynoso being in Argentina a month away from the season starting. Maybe not as worrisome now as it would be if we're in the same spot 2 weeks. But again, I got him for a pretty good deal at the time, and I felt like the move was one that, I'm giving up a little bit of ETH to Powell, but I'm also bringing in 2 probably number 1 defenders in Glesnes and Zimmerman. And then I love Velasco at Dallas. As long as all of those guys stay, I felt really good about all 3 of those guys having a part in my lineups this upcoming season. Didn't feel as good about Yarborough and Reynoso, so I said, hey, I'll give up a little bit here
as well. Yeah, sorry, I should scroll down for a second. That's a classic big head Walker, also with the short hair. That might be a collector's item someday.
Yeah, it's got a nice little boost to it.
I like the trade. Now, you said you tried to get a Sean John throw in here also. That didn't come through. For Pavel balked at that version of the trade.
Right. Before I went to bed last night, I threw the trade out there. I had Sean John Limited in there, which he's another one that we're still kind of on pins and needles. Is he going to go to Toronto FC? Is he going to go to Europe? I feel pretty strong that we're going to hear some news about him to Toronto FC soon. Like you don't treat somebody, take somebody to
it. Like immediately before or after this podcast posts.
For sure. To be honest, like you don't take somebody to a Toronto Raptors game. He's probably rubbing elbows with Drake, living the Toronto high life. And so I think it's just a matter of working out the deal. And it feels like he's going to be announced pretty soon.
Yeah, so I wanted to try to. Wasn't Michael Bradley spotted at a Raptors game before he signed with TFC back in the day? Also, I heard that.
I think so.
Yeah. Well,
it's a nice.
I want to talk about Sean John in a second, but it looks like you lost this trade as of today by about 150 pounds, euros, excuse me, or by about 0.1 ETH. But who knows what the future will bring? I think Walker's headed up. I think Glesnes is headed up. And Glesnes, this looks like Sorare data hasn't updated because he sold for an auction for 0.2 last night, right? So he's got a floor price of 0.17, but.
Yeah, I think the 0.17. There's an
So
old card
his most
up on the
recent
market.
sale is above his 3 days average, and it's above the floor price on the market. So who knows? I don't know. That's funny that someone bought the auction when you could have had a cheaper one. But
yeah, well, again, it's one of the old. It was one of the older versions of Glyphness that's cheaper, and I'm one of those that, hey, I'll pay a little bit extra just because I do like the clean look of the cards with the jerseys and the full kits on. So yeah, on paper, then I might have lost it. I might have given up a little bit more, but I think in the next week or so, as long as news is still flying around about Yarbrough potentially losing a spot, Reynoso,
right? Yeah, there's a bottom that could drop out of that Yarbrough price that would certainly make the valuations swing back in your favor.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and it's pure speculation. I think that they're going to keep decreasing in value, whereas I think Zimmerman, Glesnes.
Yeah, these guys are auto plugs into any America division lineup for sure. Zimmerman and Glesnes. So, and you have a Willis also, right?
Velasco. I don't have a Willis. I ended up selling that one last season.
You unloaded Crazy Joe. You could have paired him.
I panicoed.
Yeah, you panicoed. Velasco, I like too. Under 23, like you could consider. Obviously, there's a few more steps you have to take, but this is an elite under 23 forward as well for the summer. So, like, his
AAs are just insane when you look at him.
Yeah, you could definitely get there. You want to look at?
Yeah, I'd love to have a rare card of his. Yeah, I'd love a rare card of his. Probably a little bit out of my range right now, but yeah, his AA scores are just for a forward, especially in MLS, and he's one that's just been on my
over 12 L40
for a while,
over 20 L5. Yeah, he's just absolutely crushing it. So it's a couple DNPs in there, but yeah, I really like Velasco. I think FC Dallas is Charlotte's opponent in the Leagues Cup this upcoming summer. That's the only time we're going to play him. So, but if there's anyone that I'd fear on that team, it would probably be Velasco, I think. You mentioned Sean John. We talked about him, and this guy, he's got to be going somewhere, right? For a guy who's out of contract and does not have a team as of yet officially, he's selling pretty expensive at over 0.5. I would advise people, hey, like, take a shot on this guy, because if you have the ETH, because like his price is going to go up even more. I feel like he could get into like the 0.7 range probably if he does become the starter for Toronto, who's expected to be pretty good this year. But it's tough to pay half an ETH on just taking a flyer. What do you think? Would you be interested in a Sean John rare, or maybe just take a risk on some limiteds? What do you think?
Yeah, scroll down a little bit. I picked up a rare from our guy Tony Watt, old Watto. I saw he had one up on the market, so made a deal with him. Again, a little bit of pure speculation on that.
This is turned into evaluate CryptoKicks trades episode, but hopefully it's instructive to some. This is a decent trade, I think. Like Steve Clark, I think that you're looking at two guys who are both probably starting, but Clark is just like for a really bad team. Johnson is speculative because he's a free agent as of now. But if he goes to become the starter in Toronto, his value is going to shoot up for sure. Clark, I don't see him getting much higher than this value-wise.
Yeah, and I think Watt was looking for a nailed-on starter, which I think Clark is.
Right,
and
100%.
With Sean Johnson's situation up in the air, and see, like you said, his value right now, yes, you're taking a little bit of a risk, but I think he was going for 1 ETH last season.
Here's Watto's situation here in the goalkeepers department. Yeah. So you could see Steve Clark can kind of be an anchor for him if he wants to play the American division. Looks like he needs a few other.
Yeah, I think he was just looking for America keeper. But even going back to that Reynoso and Yarbrough trade with Powell, I was trying to work Sean John in which I'm still going to try to make some moves to pick up some of the limiteds. I think he's holding 5 limiteds right now for maybe 0.039, 0.04. I expect if he's announced, I expect he's going to be hovering in that 0.075 range before the season starts.
Yeah.
Like 0.07, 0.075. So I just feel like he's a tremendous value right now, that if you're willing to take that risk, then I think that there's his price.
Yeah, he could probably double an ETH price, I feel like, if he does become nailed in starter in the limited range, which is not bad. 2x is always nice. It's a little less risky than paying half an ETH for the rare and hoping to make 20% profit. So if you're in a spec, buy a few Sean Johnson limiteds and see where it goes. There's one on auction right now as we record this. So there you go.
Yeah, get him before he's announced to Toronto.
Yeah, exactly. If you would buy him immediately after he's announced at Toronto, then just buy him now. That's what I would say. So, let's talk on the flip side of that. Your boy who's threatening to Yarborough, Patrick Pence. You
I was
couldn't
way
remember
off.
which team he played for. He plays for Stade de Reims in France.
Okay.
That's a really bad pronunciation, I'm sure, but he's his price is kind of ticking up. And do you think this is a result of the news? Because look, he's kind of like Yarborough in reverse. He's jumped up from 0.3 to over 0.4 now. In fact, someone just bought him 2 minutes ago at 0.4 flat, which looks like a new high price for him on his price graph.
Definitely a result of a reaction to the news. It's nothing definite yet. Mm-hmm. We've seen these things kind of peter out before where it turns into nothing, but just what I've seen coming across Twitter, some of the accounts are pretty reputable. So it sounds like the deal's pretty much done. It's just a matter of them announcing it.
I mean, look at him selling multiple times for over an ETH here in the preseason this past August as League One was getting ready to get started. He was the starter for Reims before he lost the job. I don't know why he lost the job, but you can clearly tell from his SO5 profile that he had been starting, putting in 60s and 80s even a couple times, and then something happened here and he lost the job. I don't know. I'd have to dig more into it. I'll admit I'm not an expert on League One, but Pence at age 24, or excuse me, age 26 is kind of not, his card says 24. He's actually 26. Yeah, if Colorado is going to bounce back, a new goalkeeper could certainly be part of that. And Pence actually might be a guy you might want to wait for it to be. I don't know. What would you buy a Pence limited just like you would a Sean John, or do you think it's a little riskier? What do you think?
I feel like it's a little riskier. It kind of sounds that I'm saying, oh, let's go buy Sean John on speculation, but don't buy Pence. But I just feel like with Sean John being immersed in MLS, the news about him going to the Raptors game, like that the things are moving. I don't quite feel the same about Pence.
If Pence shows up at a Denver Nuggets game, buy. That's what I would say.
That seals the deal.
Yeah.
If you wine and dine them at an NBA game, then that almost is locked in.
Yeah. So I want to talk about now. So one thing we want to do is, we're trickling these episodes out in the preseason, kind of getting to them where we can, because we both have busy lives and all that nonsense and noise and whatever. But I wanted to get into something that hopefully would become a little bit of a regular feature as we start doing more frequent episodes as the season gets going on. And what that is looking at recent auctions. Just what can the recent auction closings tell us a little bit of the market? Maybe we can find some fun stories in there. And I immediately look at, the last 24 hours worth of MLS auctions. I think 36 hours, actually. There's your boy, Sebastian Driussi, selling at 0.8. This is the guy that we all like. This is the man. This is the MLS forward to own last year for sure. And I thought this is an example to me of like how soft this market has become, is because I thought Driussi a month ago before the season, I thought he was selling for 1 ETH a few months ago. So I was thinking he'd be like 1.3, 1.5 ETH even for the rare, but his price has come down. Like, yeah. So if we look, 3 months ago, he was selling at about an ETH, 0.9s, high 0.9s, 0.9s over. He never did quite cross that 1 ETH threshold, except for Zima Blue, the genius of Sorare, who will block you for sending him a trade offer he doesn't like, but continues to make dumb buys. He paid over an ETH twice for Driussi. No one else has. Now he's trading down. He's starting to maybe tick back up. Is Driussi at 0.842? Is that a good sign or bad sign for the MLS market right now?
It's probably about right now. I feel like I expect him to be closer to an ETH, like you said. But it feels like with where the market is right now, then it just feels like he's hovering right at about where he should be. I do expect that to trend up, though, in the next couple of weeks as we get closer to the season. Then, we might see it start approaching 1 ETH again. So, yeah, right now, if you really feel strongly,
scores, baby. I mean, just look at all that greenery.
Oh yeah, he does it all. He pulls in the decisives. for a
And when he has
forward,
a bad AA game, he always gets you the bailout decisive at the end. Like it was like clockwork.
Yeah.
People that didn't own him would just complain about it, and people that owned him would just like sit back and enjoy it. I mean, look at this string of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 decisives in a row. That's just reaping rewards, and it's like right in the prime of July and August when there's no other European leagues going, so you're winning global all-star rewards with this guy. There's no people who love Driussi love him for a reason, and it's because he's brought major cards, you know.
Yeah, and it's just hard to find a forward in MLS that is as well-rounded as he is. You've got like Jefferson Savarino. I would kind of say that he's in that same ballpark, but it doesn't seem like he lights his score sheet up as much.
I'm a big Sava fan, and when he's taking sets, he can put in some real nice scores, but he doesn't quite deliver these decisives, the definite decisives along the lines of Driussi. Look at me, super smart. I bought him for 0.145 a week before he transferred to Austin FC in 2021.
There you go.
One of my few wins. It's still a loss because I could have bought his champion edition, like the shiny blue and silverish one that you own now. That actually went for like 0.11 at auction like a week before I bought mine. I don't know why or maybe it was actually like a month before. But let's look at what I've won with Seabass. It's either going to be good or you can make fun of me for not doing as well as I should have with him.
Beautiful.
You know, a couple podium finishes. I won a Nigel Robertha super rare that I was able to sell. Pretty nice to a DC United fan. I sold that Tristan Blackman, and then he became the GOAT. Mau Hasoya was a good win. Mau Hasoya won a few other rewards. So, yeah, I mean, it's not bad. He kind of tailed off. This Jordan Lukaku card, maybe one of the worst rewards I've ever won. So, there you have it. So, let's go back to the auctions. There's another name that popped out at me, and since we're talking goalkeepers and whatnot, this one surprises me. Pablo Cisniega, I know him pretty well as the Charlotte FC guy. To go at 9 a.m. for 0.161. This guy is projecting to be the starter for Charlotte FC. He is in a little bit of a battle with George Marks, the like 21, 22-year-old, just still kind of fresh out of college keeper. Cisniega's got a huge edge in this goalie battle. Kalina's out after a back surgery until at least the end of April. So you're getting like 3 months at least utility. If not, he wins the job and holds it down for the whole season on Cisniega. 0.161 for that rare. If you're out there looking for a goalie on spec and in the rare scarcity, like you could do a lot worse than Cisniega. That's a steal for me, 161.
I like that. I like that shout. And yeah, I'm a little surprised too with the news, with the way that people react to news, that his price hasn't gone up more than it has.
Especially because he has a good L5, because of a few appearances he made late in the season. He has like really good looking scores. You can see I own 5 of them. I own the common, limited, rare, and super rare Cisniega because I collect Charlotte FC cards. But the price is weird. He can't push over 0.2, and people are out there buying pence, for 0.4 when he doesn't necessarily even have a job. So it's just really weird.
Yeah, I think you're sitting pretty with all the Cisniega coverage. I might even go out and try to pick one up if I can at that price before it starts hitting up over 0.2.
Right. Especially because even if you don't see him as a long-term solution, I mean, here's one with a 7 level 4 also, by the way, giving you even extra XP. Even if you don't see him as the long-term solution, buy him now for under 0.2, and when he starts the first month of the season, then sell him then, for 0.3 at the very least, if not 0.5. So really strange to me. Good deal on Ready Cash, whoever got that deal. There's a 0.122 auction from 2 days ago. Just wow. I should have bought that, to be honest. I don't know what I'm thinking, but I think I'm covered with him, so I don't need to be too overexposed to Pablo. But what else? That's some of my jump outs. So the other one I would say is Guzman Corujo at 0.06. You probably want to see him come back from his knee injury, but that's like a card that's like 0.2, 0.3 at some point. Also, if you're
another Charlotte guy, right?
Yeah. He's a, with the extremely tragic, sad news of Anton Walkes, the practical extrapolation of that is just that Walkes and Corujo and a guy named Adilson Malanda, who don't have cards, were sort of like three guys for 2 spots, and now it's like almost certain. You don't have to worry about any type of playing time issues with Corujo. He's going to play. So,
well, kind of backtracking a little bit. Let's talk about that and hit on that some, because it's a real thing, and it shouldn't really
Sure.
even be a discussion. But obviously, like you said, you're a Charlotte FC collector, so you've got several Anton Walkes cards in your gallery.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You hear the news. I mean, that's not even a thought in the back of your head is, oh, I've got his Sorare cards. I mean, obviously you are thinking that, but it's not like, oh, my value just
Right.
took a huge hit. Like Sorare's, that's just something that it's a factor when you pick up a guy. That's not like the first thing you think is, oh, like obviously you're hoping that they can avoid injury, get through a season, but now he's passed away, and you've got what, a super rare, a handful of limiteds. And
Yeah,
so
yeah, I do. I have four or five walks cards, and it's like it kind of like it's almost like levels at a certain point, because I'll admit I've made some sneaky, snaky, shady-ish sales of guys that were injured. That like I got news that like I'm thinking of Emerson Heineman. I had an offer for him in my inbox, and I was gonna reject it, but I left it sitting, and then like a few hours later he like tore his ACL at practice, and I saw the news and I like jumped into my offers and I accepted. I was like, sure, I'll accept this offer now that I know he's hurt. Like I've done that before. I'm not a perfect person, but like it crosses a certain line of threshold when it comes to like a young man, in the prime of his life, like losing his entire life. So it's not something that even really crossed my mind, like, oh, I got to unload these walks cards or anything like that. And I think him being a Charlotte player, me being a Charlotte supporter, obviously makes it that much more related, personal to me. But I don't think that I would have been that way on anyone. I don't, if I had owned any card of any player who tragically passed away. So it's a really sensitive topic. I hope we're not offending anybody by talking about it, for sure. But it's just like there are these practical implications. What I did do, and I didn't do this right away necessarily, but I did it a few days after, was I put walks in my Hall of Fame, in my gallery Hall of Fame. So there you can see
a little bit of a tribute.
He'll always be there. Yeah, I've changed my Hall of Fame around a lot, but Walkes will always be in my Hall of Fame now, for sure.
Yeah, I love it.
So it is what it is. You mentioned my Charlotte collection, and I do have a lot. For the Crown Baby is kind of our calling card. And I've definitely heavily invested in Charlotte FC cards, and I keep even the guys who are no longer on the team that got like transferred away and stuff like that. But Walkes was just a really cool guy. He had great connection with fans, and he is always going to live in our hearts. We'll play this season. We'll play the rest of the club. The club we'll put him in a ring of honor or some type of honor, permanent honoring in the stadium, I'm sure, hopefully very soon, and play with the patch this year and things like that. All those plans are in the works. So I mean, sometimes the real world horns in on our fantasy distraction getaway type of thing, and the two worlds collide. For me, it becomes, there's nothing about profit or competition or gaming or anything like that when it comes to walks. I have these cards. Maybe it might be more respectful to like take them off the platform and burn them. I'm not sure. Maybe some people might feel that way. Feel free to comment on it or something like that. If you think there's something better I could do that'd be more appropriate, I'm always open to listening. But yeah, we love Walksy, and he will live on. His cards will always be in my collection as far as I'm concerned as of now, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah, I totally agree with all that. And like I said, it was probably not even just a conversation to be had, but it is something as a Sorare manager that, unfortunately, this is probably not going to be the first time that managers will have to deal with players in their deck potentially passing away from something unexpectedly, and that's kind of just part of it. It's almost like not in the same light, but like when you play daily fantasy, then you're taking a risk of having your running back go down with a knee injury or ankle or something right off the bat. And
even just getting hit, even just suffering pain. Like you'd be like, well, we're profiting off of people's pain. You could think of it that way if you really wanted to like get down to the nitty gritty.
Yeah,
it's just life. Like we're just trying to get by, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, man, shout out to you guys. And it seems like everybody there in Charlotte's just really coming together and just remembering him for who he was, and paying tribute to him and his family and friends. And
big time.
It's good to see from afar.
Big time. But is there anything else that's kind of pretty much what we want to talk about? I would love to hear like stories in the comments below of people who have questions for us. We want to do a better job of like answering questions. That's one thing we talked about as we were like talking about where we want to take the show is answer more viewer questions. We'd love to hear your stories, like I said, of like what the market, something that might have illustrated to you. We've picked out all these examples today of like interesting cards that kind of tell us where the market is as a whole. Let's just end by talking about where do you see it going here in this last month, Schuyler? Because like we're a month away. Where is the is it going to heat up? Are prices going to get to that sort of like red hot that we saw before? And maybe if so, why? Or if not, why?
I would be very surprised if we don't start seeing prices tick up in the next week or two. We are a month away. It feels like there's nowhere to go but up from here. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But it's like this is prime time, especially the way prices are right now. It feels like this is prime time to go ahead and spruce your deck up a little bit with guys that you might be a little hesitant on up until now, but like feels like right now might be a good time to go ahead and make some purchases, make some moves to bring in some guys that you want to lean on this season. And yeah, because I think here in about 2 weeks, and I think we really start to see things turn up. And I'm pretty active right now. Like I said, I don't have a lot of ETH because I've been spending it. I've been making some trades.
So you said at the beginning that no one's doing anything, but now you're saying you're doing a bunch of stuff. So you're the market mover. You're the one that's making everything happen out there in the market with these.
I don't mean like trades. Absolute like complete crickets, just compared to last year. Like
sure.
You're saying, because that was really one of my first. I've been playing a couple of years now, but that was really my first season going into it. That I really noticed a ton of movement about this time, like right after Christmas even.
Yeah, and it was surprising last year, right? Because we were like, oh, it won't really get moving until a few weeks before the season. But it was like 2 months before the season. It was crazy.
Yeah.
This year, I did buy a card, by the way. To that end, I did pick up a card that had been looking at for a while, and I saw a good one on the market. Antonio Carlos Super Rare, which I'm sharing right here. 0.327, nice. I thought was a pretty good price. The guy said he would give it to me for 0.325. And I said, how about I go 0.3269 just because I'm childish and I love to put 69 into all my offers. So Rare Data rudely rounds that up to 0.327. But yeah, I mean, it's right in line with another recent purchase. So yeah, I'm expecting big things from Antonio Carlos this year. I think he has, when you think of like the most dominant MLS defenders, it's usually I think of Yamar for Seattle Sounders in the SO5 game. He's the one you want to have. But I think Antonio Carlos is almost like a little bit of a Yamar light. Didn't end the season great, but he has this potential to like put up huge scores. He gets in his head on goals, balls in the box and things like that, and puts up big AA a lot of times. So looking forward to putting him in some lineups. And I think it's a decent purchase. So, but yeah, the thing of it is though is that this year I was trying to think like why are things not quite as hot as they were like as this time last year. And I was thinking, well, there's NBA is taking up a huge amount of the US users time. And you also lose the European soccer fan who loves Sorare, the European Sorare manager who's out there. And there's, that's still the majority of Sorare managers, even though there's tons of Americans and Western Hemisphere people playing it now. The Europeans who play might have, in last year, they've been like, well, European season's winding down or is entering the second half. I've got my teams. Time to turn my attention to what I'll do this summer. Oh, it's either Asia or America. I guess I'll go America, so they have something to do in summer. Well, now they have NBA. Now if they don't want to learn MLS, they can be just as happy playing NBA, which is something totally different, get sort of.
And MLB soon.
Yeah, and maybe MLB. I don't think a ton of Europeans played MLB last year, and I don't expect a ton to this year. But Europeans have really taken to the Sorare NBA for sure. And so I think I honestly could almost say that might be the single biggest factor when you take into account everything else. I just think the existence of Sorare NBA is what's kind of keeping the MLS market depressed at this time of year as compared to last. What do you think?
Yeah, it could be a factor. I don't think it's the main factor. I think it's probably one of several. One of them being just coming off of World Cup, and maybe some newer users are hesitant to jump into MLS until they realize kind of how the Sorare schedule works out to where you do want to have some coverage. Once Europe dies down, you do want to have some coverage and maybe dive into MLS a little bit. And so maybe we're starting to see a little bit of some of the new users maybe starting to come around on MLS. And maybe just some of the new game changes have a little bit to do too, where people are still focusing a little bit more on Europe right now.
Yeah.
MLS
I definitely
will come
want
into
to see
focus here in a couple of weeks.
League-specific competitions. There needs to be an MLS one, hopefully, as soon as ready for launch when the season gets going in a month. Because there's like La Liga only limiteds and Serie A only limited like that, and it's like, I love to see. I don't know enough about those leagues to really get into them, but and it's these capped modes, but I do know enough about MLS to get really into it. So I would love to try, like, the draft mode that they came up with just for MLS. I would have a lot of fun with that. That would almost feel a little bit like FMLS in a way, like in terms of player rankings and things like that. So
yeah, I'm still getting acclimated with some of the changes, but I do think that would be lovely if they can carry that over to America, to MLS.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see it. I know you'd love to see it.
Yeah, so. Hell, do it for Argentina also. That'd be great. Do it for everything. Get the whole league. Sign up. Why haven't they not licensed all of Liga MX yet? They only have like a few teams over the years, and like now those guys have trickled out to other teams, so you kind of get some coverage of them. Most of the games have like a card or two in play, but man, that just seems like a layup at this point to get all of Liga MX. What do I know?
You're talking to somebody that wants to see USL get licensed. So
yeah. Oh, like license USL all day. At least give us coverage of US Open Cup, right? I mean, come on.
Yeah, US Open Cup, Leagues Cup.
The biggest,
I know there's a lot of people out there.
Tournaments in existence on the globe. So
whatever. Yeah, it's like FA Cup. FA Cup isn't covered, is it?
I don't know.
No. Yeah, so I guess I can let that one slide, but Leagues Cup would be fun because that has every MLS.
Leagues Cup is a must. They have until July to get it done. You got 6 months. You're on the clock, so if you don't cover Leagues Cup, you're going to have they won't care, and it'll be small, but it will be a riot. It'll be a mini riot, but it will be a riot. I can promise you that much.
Yeah, give us that little extra utility bump. We'll take it.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. I think that wraps us up for today, but I'm really looking forward to this next month of figuring out where we are. I still got a few more cards I want to pick up. Maybe I'll sell my Reynoso super rare. Who knows? But
not for 0.7.
Yeah, not for 0.7. Hell no. So really fun, loving this project, and excited to keep it going. Let us know what you think. Give us whatever. We thrive on feedback, all that kind of stuff. So let us know in the comments what you want to see here, for us to talk about. More jokes, less jokes. Should we fight? Stuff like that. So who knows? But yeah, put up your friggin' dukes, man. Exactly.
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to the season, and it's just been fun, kind of leading into the season, talking things out, and I think you and I both have some fun ideas along the way that we can start to introduce. I think we talked about doing some sort of maybe like a definite decisive.
Oh yeah, we're going to guarantee goals
before each
for
game
sure.
week.
We will be guaranteeing
goals and worth this.
Yeah.
And so some giveaways along the way. Let's just have some fun with it, and let's keep this thing moving.
All right, cool, man. Well, hey, till next time.